Hey, what's up, y'all? It is Monday here on Wake Up Barstool, and we have got a ton to get to. We got our guy Riggs stopping by to talk about the U.S. Ryder Cup failure. Plus, MLB playoffs are set after a wild weekend in baseball, and the Mets are nowhere to be found. We got Frank the Tank coming on to just wallow in the misery. We got a huge NFL weekend that Coach Gruden's going to break down with both the shred line and chopping it up with us. WNBA crash out from Coach Cheryl Reeve as the finals are almost set here. Brandon Walker's going to take us inside the world of college football, let you know the biggest winners and losers from a massive weekend. It's all coming up right here on FS1. What's going on, y'all? Welcome in. We're here at the beautiful Barstool Sports Chicago HQ. This is Monday. This is Wake Up Barstool. T-Bob Abear, Brandon Walker in studio. Also got our guys Liam Blutman and Meek Phil behind the desk. A bunch of dour losers.
Look how happy he is.
Just a bunch of dour
Look at that face.
Losers in this room.
You look like a Muppet.
We were just talking pre-show. Of course, there was only one person that won this weekend, and it is the man joining us remotely, Mr. Dave Portnoy. Dave, how's it going, man?
It's going well. I do have a question, so I'm remote. Is that Wake Up Barstool sign behind us supposed to be lit up? I noticed in the intro, it lit up like halfway through you talking. It looks like that's an electric sign that should be lit up. So I get a different perspective when I'm remote because I'm looking behind, not forward. But that electric sign seems like it should be lit up with everything else.
It's a light. He just turned it on. You can barely tell. There.
It's lit up now.
It's lit up now.
All right. Well, that's distracting. We got to fix it, put it in the tickler file. So a big sports weekend. And I actually tweeted this out because traditionally on an NFL Monday, you start NFL, college football, you recap all that. I thought Ryder Cup was the biggest story. And I'm not a Ryder Cup guy, by the way. Generally, I go into it. I've said before that it started, I think most of the guys would, like, if you gave them the truth serum, would rather win the Honda Classic than the Ryder Cup. It's an individual sport. That's kind of how I felt. I wasn't paying attention. It was a massacre. You start seeing the highlights of the crowds at Bethpage and the golf community whining and what's over the line. And then you have sort of this comeback on Sunday, and I changed. I turned off, or I shouldn't say turned off. I paid attention to the golf while it was going on. I'm like, is this going to be a comeback? You have the Rory stuff. So long story short, I thought Ryder Cup was the lead story. We get our guy Riggs, cross-eyed Riggs on here to talk golf. Now, Riggsy, you do this move. I think you bet on Europe. Am I right about this?
Well, I bet on Europe this year because they were plus 170, which is outrageous. I mean, if you're trying to look at value, and I was trying to hedge my happiness a little bit. So
I hate that. That is an anti-American move if you really care about the Ryder Cup.
Well, it's not. It's if you look, like Frankie does it every year with the Rangers. It's the same type of deal where it's like he bets on the Rangers to win the Cup. You hedge your happiness a little bit. Plus, again, plus 170. Like, there's not a lot I know about in this world. I don't really know about football. I don't know. You kind of bet blindly occasionally. You're trying to get a little bit lucky, have some fun. This was like, if you pay attention to golf, Europe being plus 170. They had the exact same team that destroyed us in Rome 2 years ago. They have the same captain. The only guy they had different is the twin-like brother of their 12th guy from 2 years ago. So it's the identical team being plus 170 was ridiculous, and we saw a lot of that when we were down 7 points after 2 days.
Yeah, but betting on the Rangers is not betting on crossing international borders and betting against your country. This is a good old US of A.
I would argue it means more to Frankie, though.
It might. The whole point being, like, I won the bet. So it's like people could say whatever they want. I mean, I won the bet.
Well, yeah, we'll call you a traitor. But
Thank you.
The actual event, and I don't know how the other. I go circular on this. Like, I find Rory McIlroy one of the weakest, like, insufferable, baby, everything. When you think of what makes you maybe not like a country club golfer, I think of him. Now, then it starts changing. I'm like, the Bethpage crowd is kind of going over the line here. You have the drink hit on him. Now the drink, we've seen the replay. The guy hits it out of his hand. I still think you attribute then that an intentional move from the guy who swatted the drink. I don't know if it's as vicious as a direct hit. And you have they're chanting Amanda, Amanda, because he had supposedly an affair and his wife is there and the heckling. But on the other side of the thing, all Rory does is he's like, this is over the line. And then he's telling him, like, shut up with the F word in there. And he's refusing to putt and he's inciting the crowd. So I don't know where I sit on this. Like I don't know who's right and who's wrong, because it seems like it all boils up and goes against each other. And in the end, maybe it's just a bunch of golfers being babies. I'm not 100% sure. Where are you on it, Riggs?
Yeah, I think that it's like a lot of things that we talk about, where there's a certain small percentage of every large group of people that just suck, that don't know where a line is, that say things, do things, react to things that's irrational or over the line. And what I think is stupid is that, I think there was a certain percentage of golf Twitter people, journos, legacy media, whatever, that were truly excited that the Ryder Cup crowd went over the line Saturday so that they could tweet holier than thou about how the crowd went over the line. When in reality, it's like, we got 60,000 people out there. The U.S. is getting destroyed. There's nothing to root for. People battled through buses, crowds, trains, all of it. It's hot. You can barely see any golf. Of course, they're going to be pissed off out there. And no, that doesn't justify people, saying things that are over the line.
What is over the line? Is swearing at Rory over the line? I don't think that is.
No, I don't think that's over the line. I think that when Rory's wife is out there and you are screaming and chanting extremely personal stuff at him and at his wife, Shane Lowry was saying things were being directed right at his wife out there, I think people would agree that that's across the line. And you want to compare it to other sports, but if you're sitting near the sidelines of an away game in the NFL, your wife and family aren't sitting right there on the sideline too, being chirped at. And I think that if that was found out to have come out, people would be like, okay, that's a little bit over the line. And so I think most of the fans are great and can handle it. I think that the small percentage of people that do go over the line ruin it for a lot of other folks. And I think that Rory, I'm with you, Dave, where it's like Rory, we like rooting for Rory. Rory's one of our favorite players. When he won the Masters, you were all making fun of us, Dave, but it was like, if you're a golf fan, it was like an emotional moment watching him finally get over that hump and do that. And then you have this event where he's public enemy number one, and you want to hate the guy, but you also can't help but respect that he turns around, tells a fan to shut the F up, and then hits it to 2 feet to win the match with all that going on. It's like, God, we just can't seem to beat these guys. And it does kind of make you hate them more, but it's also, they do, in terms of the team atmosphere, they do all of it better than us. The way that they hug each other is they have this Euro neck caressing where it's like they're in love with each other. They have better songs than we have. Our chants are going viral because of how pathetic and lame they are. So from the whole team country aspect, they just destroy us. And then when you get what we get yesterday, which is when it's singles, when these guys just go out and play their own ball as individual better golfers, we are top to bottom better golfers. And that's what's infuriating, is that we can't beat these people, even though when we go out and play in singles, we prove that we are a better team. We have higher world ranking, the whole deal, but they just destroy us when it comes to being a team, chemistry, and the whole deal.
Back to the crowd, though, a little bit. And I agree with you. You can't be heckling somebody's wife who's sitting there. You got direct on the course. I think they complain about all of it, but isn't that you can't almost separate the two to me? That is what makes the Ryder Cup so different, and why somebody like me who may not be interested, you don't see this on any other tournament where there's the trash talk with the fans and the emotion, but it's all because you're in this cauldron where the normal rules of golf don't apply. I saw Rory being you should just be cheering for Scotty. You shouldn't be saying anything negative to me. I want people just be go Scotty, he's your guy. You don't cheer against me. But that is what makes the Ryder Cup the Ryder Cup. That's what makes it so interesting for me, who originally is I'm not going to watch it. And then I tune in because the emotions of the crowd, I don't care what sport it is. If you go in and the crowd is that electric and going back and forth, it makes it a better sporting environment. So you can't be I don't want that. but you still want the Ryder Cup.
Yes, I agree. And I think that unfortunately, if you want something to be as big of a spectacle as this thing is, which is what they're doing, the commercialization of it is off the charts. They're making a couple $100 million in revenue now, where this used to be a little exhibition against a couple, buddies from different countries. There were, up in the 70s, there were players from the U.S. that wouldn't even go overseas for the Ryder Cup because it wasn't worth it. Now, if you want it to be this gigantic spectacle, that really is the biggest thing we got in golf. Unfortunately, I'm with you. I think you have to kind of accept that you're going to get some of that. Everyone knew going in. So I hate when people act like it was such a shock. Like, oh my God, what happened on Saturday afternoon? For 2 years straight, we've been talking about, that Bethpage crowd is going to be something. So then when it's something and everybody kind of bitches and complains about it, yes, we should still denounce the people that go way over the line, say stuff about your wives and all that. But I'm sort of with you where it's like, do you understand how crowds and sports and momentum and energy and all this passion, whatever they want to call it, if you understand how that works, this is sort of what you expected to get, and we got it. And yeah, the Euros get to prance around afterwards in the interviews, and they get to condemn all the fans because they won.
While
and that's what
inciting
happens
them
when you win.
While inciting them. That's what if you're going to be as obnoxious as they were in victory, which they were, and you see the clips on do we have the clip on the bus of them singing Rory? And I think I saw one, the U.S. is scared of Europe. Europe's on fire. If you're going to do all that, these New York, you got Stu Feiner living 5 seconds down the road. You're going to get a whole bunch of Stu Feiners. You think Stu Feiner has any idea where the line in the sand is? So you have 10,000 Stu Feiners who literally think you can rank women still at the office. Like, you think he knows the line of what you can say to somebody? Of course not. So he is just, again, I think it makes it a great event. Yes, I also will say this against the line. Rory's wife didn't get smashed with a full beer 100 miles per hour. Didn't get it poured on her. It was a little tip-off. I get being mad, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And a lot of these golfers do the same move. They do the fake hold me backs. Like, oh, I'm going to get you. And they're country club guys. They're not good. The Shane Lowry, did you guys see the Shane Lowry? Do we have this? The people like, oh, Shane Lowry got held back. He almost attacked a fan. All right, here, this is the beer thing. And it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. You don't ever want it, but it wasn't a 90. It wasn't a Rico Bosco high noon can at the head. And let's also get the Shane Lowry holdback. The Shane Lowry holdback. Do we have that clip where like the announcer, like Shane Lowry had to be held back from attacking a fan? Do we have that? If we have that,
I did
not,
like
shame on me.
Dave, did you see Shane Lowry's quote though?
What?
You're talking about how, the crowd, if you want it this way, you got it this way. I like this quote from Lowry. He said, quote, "It was intense. It was like something I've never experienced, but this is what I live for. This is it. This is like, honestly, the reason I get up in the morning is for stuff like this." So
is that true? Wasn't he being a baby the whole time?
According to him, he was feeding off it. What did you think, Riggs?
No, I kind of agree with Dave, where I do think that they want it to push them right to the edge because that makes it as fiery as it gets. The reactions that you're getting out of Shane Lowry and Rory, and even out of Scotty, out of Cam Young from our team, who's never shown an ounce of emotion in his life, even when they put him up on TGL, he's up there like crying and throwing fist pumps. And that is because the crowd is pushed right up to the edge. Yep. And for some reason, some people seem to think that there's this perfect world you can live in where you push it right up to the edge and everything's great, but no one's going to go over the edge at all. And that's psychotic. That's just you're not living in reality at that point. And so I think, would they prefer to have the crowd be as loud and as into it and affect them as much as it does and have a little bit of people go over the line? Or would they have everyone rather sit there and do a little golf clap? I think even the Europeans, even Rory, even Shane Lowry, would rather have it be this way than have it be quiet out there and just perfectly respectful the whole time. And that's what makes the Ryder Cup.
Here's the holdback. This is the is it? I thought they were on the green. This is classic golf. That's they made that like Shane Lowry restrained from attacking fan. That's a golf holdback. And this is a terrible way to say it, and it's not a good answer, and I may get criticized for it. Maybe you leave your wives at home for the Ryder Cup. Like, I know there's plenty of sporting events you hear. You don't want to. You're playing the Eagles at the Vet. Maybe you don't have your wife sitting in the in the fan section or the wife section. And I know that's not golf, and that's not what you want golf to be. And I'm hearing Frank the Tank. We got to fix this. Frank the Tank, I can hear him.
You are getting ready?
Already, dude.
He's ready to go. Can we hold the people in the waiting room so I don't have Frank in? Wait for this Mets explosion. But and I heard Rory say it's golf. It's different. It teaches life's lessons. It unites people. Does this? No, not the Ryder Cup. Maybe have a different section for them. But in this crowd, it is a unique sport where you have everybody jammed together. So I just. You want the crowds. And when we go to Europe, we want Europe to be on the Americans. That's what, to me, makes this interesting. For somebody who generally is like, I think these are selfish guys who would rather win individual events. And this is what makes it different, unique, and interesting. I didn't expect Scotty Scheffler to be crying after his interview. Bryson, I kind of do expect him to be crying even though they're down 100. But it makes it, you don't see it. It's what makes it so different.
Yeah, look, Brian Harman, when he won the Open Championship recently, it was like the things that he heard said to him, because everybody was rooting for Tommy Fleetwood and the British folks to win that event, were outrageous. So what I hate too is when it all gets put on American fans, or like it's only Long Island or US. No, man, we get fans everywhere that step over the line. And like I said earlier, I think at the end of the day, if they had to have it one way or the other, this is how they want it. They just are in a position when they win where they could sort of decry everybody, chirp everybody. After they win, they could prance around the green and they could tell the crowd to F off. That's kind of what you get when you win. And it's sort of why it's so frustrating when our players and our team doesn't come up, because we got really nothing. Our people get frustrated. They got nothing to root for. So yeah, there was a former European Ryder Cup player leading up to the Ryder Cup who literally said that, Dave. He was like, I actually don't think wives and girlfriends should go to this event because of what gets yelled at these players. And I think he was probably right.
Yeah. So last question I have on it is shifting a little bit. Now, you bet on Europe, so you're a little bit different, a little bit of a trader.
Not true. Just
when you wake up, American golf fans, like when the Patriots lost the Super Bowl going for the perfect season, I didn't watch TV for a month and a half. I just shut it off. It's like, nope, highlights, I'm done. I don't want to see it. Do golf fans, are they waking up today or tomorrow be like, I can't watch highlights, I got to wait for 2 years? Or is this an event that comes, goes, you want to win in the moment? That's why I always don't think it's as big as, like, Brandon Walker's still probably thinking about Tennessee right now, right? Yep. Like, you lose big games as a sports fan, your team, you lose a championship, it stays with you. Some marks never leave. I still, with the Celtics losing to the Lakers, like, when they went back-to-back, sticks with me. Does the Ryder Cup, like, stick with people like that?
With golf fans, yes. We haven't won a foreign Ryder Cup since 1993. Every single year, we have the best players. From an average world ranking standpoint, we are pretty much always ahead of Europe, and that number is usually pretty significant. We've now lost 11 of the last 15, and this last one, you know, it's almost like smoke and mirrors that we came back yesterday, because the narrative should be that not only did we lose, we was in our backyard, New York, and we got absolutely embarrassed. Now, the comeback was incredible.
Yeah,
like
the comeback,
we're all happy about that.
The comeback. Listen, it's a lot easier to come back when there's no pressure. It's 11-2 in the bottom of the ninth, and you put up a couple runs. And then when the pressure hits, now, we didn't even get into it. I don't want to start. The can't lay tie rule is ridiculous, and you could argue if I was a spin zone guy, that would be my spin zone, change the whole thing. But the comeback,
right.
When the pressure's not on.
To the answer to the question, this sucks. We've been pissed about this for almost a couple decades now. We've tried to blow it up 3 or 4 different times. We've had press conferences afterwards where Phil Mickelson was going at Tom Watson. We had this out of left field captaincy where it's like, we're going to go with a guy that might make the team. We're going to go with Keegan Bradley. They usually go with like a ceremonial, 45, 50-year-old player that's won a bunch of majors. We've tried a bunch of different angles and we still can't win, and it sucks. So yeah, it's like we only get this event every 2 years, our favorite thing that we have. We only get it on home soil every 4 years, and to have it come out and be as bad as it was is just devastating, and we have no answers. Like, we don't know what the hell to do. They're just better than we are.
Did you think
Riggs, thank you so much, man. The old Benedict Better himself. Check it out, Foreplay Pod, as they will continue to break down, all the fallout from the Ryder Cup. Coming up next, MLB playoffs and Frank the Tank. Oh, got to break down what in the hell happened to the New York Metropolitans. More Wake Up Barstool on FS1. Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. You see it there. The MLB postseason is set. It was an absolutely wild weekend full of triumphs and collapses, and we'll get to the biggest collapse of all. But first, Dave, you see it right there. Red Sox, Yankees, wild card round. I mean, how we feeling about it?
I'll start by saying I hate the rules. I absolutely hate the rules that all the games are in New York. That to me is an insane rule. You have to go New York, Boston, New York. Maybe I'm just thinking it's easier when we have to travel so close in other cities, but that to me is crazy that two wild card teams, it's not that big of a difference. If you win the division, maybe I can understand that should be the bigger advantage. You get all the home games, but if you're both wild cards, that seems like a crazy home field advantage. As far as the series goes, I think it's going to be very close. I think the team that comes out of this is basically going to be the favorite in the American League. The Mariners, I think, are tough, good pitching. But listen, we've had their number for the most part this year. I've watched a lot of the Red Sox. I think Crochet could be, you could argue, the best pitcher you want, the best number one. He's dominated the Yankees all season. Our three, Bello has, so our two, Giolito has been awesome all season. Yeah, it is close. Sat next to him at a fever game. Bello has kind of waned down the stretch, so it makes me a little bit nervous. Chapman, I like our team. You got to win game one. I think whoever wins game one is going to win this series. Yankees, Red Sox, nothing better. I would have rathered it in the divisional series, but I'm excited. 6 o'clock tomorrow. If this doesn't get you going as a baseball fan, this is almost the best time of the year. You have wild card 4 games tomorrow.
Yep.
College football full swing, NFL full swing for me, horse racing, Breeders' Cup. But yeah, now I will say I bet so much money on the Red Sox during the course of this season, and they are no better odds right now than they were when I bet them, which makes me a little bit nervous. But I'm excited, and it's Crochet Day on Tuesday, so I like it. We'll see. It hurts that Roman Anthony's out, and I don't think he's coming back for the entire series. That kills. But they've turned it around a little bit, and I'm excited.
Baseball had a hell of a final week. You had the Guardians catching the Tigers. Now they play in the wild card round. You had the AL MVP race with Judge and Raleigh. And then, of course, in the National League, you had the Mets, the New York Mets. And their tenuous grip on a playoff spot finally released it in the on the last day of the season.
And thus we arrive. We also have Meek here in studio who is exuding sadness.
His sad face has been, and I know, Dave, I don't know you can see it the whole time. His face has been like this the entire time.
Yeah.
I heard he pregame puked.
I wasn't a pregame puke. It was an after first inning puke because I was that nervous.
That's much better.
It didn't help.
So we have Meek here in studio who's very sad, but joining us is the man who was right. Frank the Tank, he tried to tell you for the last few months this team had no balls, they had no heart, and unfortunately for Mets fans, Frank was once again correct. Frankie, how we feeling this morning, brother?
It's just shocking how bad this team collapsed. When you realize they were 45-24 on June 12th, the morning of June 13th, they're 45-24, best team in baseball. The rest of the way, they were the worst team in baseball. They played at a pace that would have them around 100 losses the rest of the season, and they blew games that left and right. They had a 6-0 lead, and they lost again, and they gave up 9 runs in 1 inning. And on the other side, they had no wins. The only team in Major League Baseball this year that went winless when trailing heading into the 9th inning. They had no comebacks. They only had 2 games this year where they were either down by 4 or more and won. Whenever they battled back to tie a game, they blow it right away. There was no heart. And if they had a good, feel-good win like they had on Tuesday, they come out the next day flat. And they just come out flat. No heart, no energy. They fall down, they roll over and die time and time again. I mean, they were 0-70 when trailing heading into the 9th inning. And most of those games, it was a 1-2-3 inning. No heart, no fight, no grit. Back and forth games. Another incredible stat. And Kyle Gelly put it up every time. 38 times this year, they had a starting pitcher go at least 6 innings. 38 is obscenely bad. And they're both bad. They came in with the idea, these geniuses in the analytic department who never watch baseball. They come up with a statistical formula, and we just say, watch the movie Moneyball, which of course let out that the A's had their 3 best pitchers that year, but they think that you could build a bullpen and you could partition. We could go have a whole bunch of relievers come out there. Their bullpen was dead. You had like pitchers whose careers are over because how they just overused them, and the manager, oh, we'll be okay. We have too much talent. Just completely lost how to manage. I mean, it's like he had a lobotomy.
Where does it start, Frank? And Frank, nobody's been more on your side. And when they had that great record, I'll give Frank credit. From the beginning, he said, this team has no heart. They had the best record in baseball. And it was like, well, Frank's so negative. Well, I say watch last year, people. I say there was nobody more positive enjoying their run last year. But Frank knew it this year. Where does it start? Is it Steve Cohen? Is it Lindor? Why does this team so gutless? Is it KFC? Is it just the Mets curse? What is it,
I don't
Frank?
know. That's the thing that's a mystery to me. I think letting Jose Iglesias walk was incredibly dumb. He provided something. He provided some sort of leadership. And, people talk about Francisco Lindor being team captain. That ship has sailed. He is no captain. He is no captain because you know why? I'll tell you why he's no captain. Because he couldn't lead him out of anything. He smiles too much. There's no intensity.
I hate those guys who smile. The smilers are the worst, Frank.
And you got Pete Alonso, who plays with a little intensity. But come on, he's like Rob Gronkowski. He's got the. You couldn't have.
Frank, you're right about a lot of things. I can't have you talk about Jose Iglesias. The guy batted .228 this year. Not having that 590 OPS bat, I do not care about that.
He's a leader.
He's a leader, Frank, but
the locker room guy.
He's a leader, Frank. What's the number one reason why this team missed the playoffs? Tell me right now.
Well,
I think we'll both agree on this.
Apart.
What?
The pitching fell apart.
Starting pitching. 38 starts this year of 38 quality starts. The only team worse than that were the Marlins, who beat us the last weekend, and the Rockies, who are one of the worst teams in baseball history.
What do you guys think about the Marlins doing the lambada after they eliminated you guys? Taking pictures, getting a ring ceremony. That was something.
They are
It's their World Series, and good for them.
They are a garbage organization. And losing to them every time just angers me. They are a garbage organization.
They've won 2 World Series since you guys have won one.
We don't care, Brandon.
2 World Series fluky. They are a garbage trash organization. Anyone that's good on their team, they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. They're going to have nobody. They're never going to win again. They're going to get rid of all their players again because that's what the Marlins do.
This is sad though, Frank. I'm a Frank guy, but you've been reduced to attacking the Marlins. That's not necessarily where you want to be.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But the Marlins, and it's the Mets' fault because they don't. The Mets should be angry. The Mets should be angry that Ron Darling says. But you know what? They didn't have that. They didn't have that fortitude. They didn't have the guts. They didn't have the balls. They get angry. They just rolled over and died.
And Frank,
it really hurt me to see the Reds making fun of you too. The Reds clip your rant. They end it with that. I don't know if we have that, but that had millions of views. They're using the misery of Frank the Tank and Mets fans just absolutely brutal.
Oh no!
The Reds!
Frankie.
Do you know the incredible thing is this?
What's the incredible
The
thing?
collapse in 2007. Everyone always talks about that. The Phillies had to play great baseball for the Mets to collapse in 2007. Over the last 50 games, the Reds are under 500.
Frank's not even the last 50. The last 80, they're 40-40. The Reds did absolutely nothing to get this last playoff spot. This is the Mets
The Reds did
disintegrating.
nothing. The Mets handed them the playoff spot.
This isn't even 2008 where CeCe Sabathia is going on 3 days rest every time to catch him. This isn't 2002 where the Atlanta Braves are playing 800 baseball, never losing. The Cincinnati Reds literally was a 500 baseball team from the middle of June till now. They did absolutely nothing to get this last playoff spot.
And the
guess
one
what?
game
They have a
that will
chance.
always
They're
bother
starting
me-
Hunter Green Tuesday night versus the Dodgers. They have a chance
July
to go
18th.
win 2 games.
July 18th, first game out of the break, Mets versus
Alex
Reds.
Carrillo.
I mean, what are we doing here? We could have put any reliever in there. We had Alex Carrillo give up 4 home runs.
And Alex,
4 home runs.
Frank, our bullpen was so bad the rest of the year, Alex Carrillo didn't even come back after that. He gave up 3 home
And
runs.
we
We
had
blew that
40
game. That was a tiebreaker.
46 different pitchers this year. It was like musical chairs. They call up somebody, he go in there. If he was good, they DFA him, and then they bring up somebody else because he used too many pitches. They got to get an inning eater because these analytic departments who think, oh, we could just partition the game, have relievers. You can do that in the postseason. You cannot do that in a 162-game season. And the Mets were so arrogant, thinking that the playoffs were automatic, that they built their team for October, forgetting that they needed air in October, and that's what happened.
And Frank, game 162, the pitcher that gave up the runs yesterday, Ryan Stanek, 65
Ryan
appearances,
Stanek.
ERA over
No,
5. The
I'm
fact he was
taking
allowed
the
to
heat
stay
out
on
of
the
his
team
name. He's
from
Ryan
April
Stanek.
to October, despite being one of the worst relievers in baseball, is, can I say asinine on TV?
No.
Yeah, you can say asinine.
Maybe.
That's too good, me.
Oh, as soon as he gets a run base, nope, we got to yank him.
Hey, Frank, a question real quick. I know we got to
Last
go.
one, yeah.
So, Frank, question. Has anybody reached out to you to see if you're doing okay?
Don't start with
Oh, my God, Brandon.
Just heard somebody reach out to you. I heard somebody big time reach out to you and was making sure.
Oh, yeah,
everything's good.
A-Rod.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, hell yeah. I thought you were doing a phone bit.
No,
thought you were
I heard
doing
it. I heard
a-
A-Rod called him
Was that
yesterday.
as a mental health check he gave you?
Yeah, I guess. A-Rod's a great guy, and hopefully we'll be able to get a walk with him. We're looking forward to that.
Well, at least you got the Dolphins.
Hey,
Frank.
the Dolphins are favored
Okay,
tonight,
Dave.
Frankie. They're
All right.
favored tonight, baby.
That's
I
twisting
want
it.
to lose.
Okay,
I want
okay.
the Dolphins to lose.
Oh, you're going to get your wish.
Perfect.
Because the only way the Dolphins get better is if you clean house. And the more they lose, the faster the house is clean.
There you go. Frank the Tank. Check out Frank Walks. Frank, I am sorry about what you went through this weekend, but thank you for coming on and being so vulnerable with us. You're the man. Have a great day, brother.
See you around.
I just got a video of Meek Phil literally throwing up in the bathroom before the game.
We'll have to touch on that when we get back. Wake Up Barstool. We got Jon Gruden joining the show next. Wild weekend in the NFL, guys. One of those weekends that proves that maybe we don't know as much as we think we know. And we'll get to it all here on FS1.
Good job, Frank.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. FS1. Don't worry, Blunt. Dave.
Can we just real quick behind the scenes? During the break, Dave was talking to Blutman. He says, hey, Blutman, I pitched you to do something. And right then, 30 seconds before we go on the air, the mic's always cut off. So Blutman might have a life-changing opportunity. He has no idea what it is.
He has to sit here and wait the entire segment, and he'll never know.
My life.
We
is
were
a
at dinner.
sitcom.
We're at Big Noon Kickoff. There's always important people at these dinners, like sitting down. The USC AD was there. There's people on Fox. Somebody was UCLA. We were talking about their coach being fired. I forget who I was talking to, but I was pitching Blutman to be the assistant to the athletic director at UCLA because nobody cares about UCLA football and sports more than him. And they're like, who is Blutman? I'm like, well, he's this weird-looking internet guy, but he knows a lot about UCLA and football. So I don't exactly remember who I was pitching you to, but I was dead seriously pitching you for a job that doesn't exist.
Well, this is massive. And to that, I would say, hopefully the next step would just be AD, because I could do that better than Martin. But we shouldn't get into that. Thank you, Dave. Means a lot. Insane what just happened in the break, though. The sitcom nature of that is unbelievable. You can't script it. I guess you could script it, but
And the other name, by the way, and he's coming on, he's joining us anywhere I go, any football opening I hear. Jon Gruden. His name was brought up dead seriously again. They're like, I think he's going to UCLA. Like, I don't know if he is. I haven't heard it yet. So, I mean, if there is an opening, Coach, your name is bandied about nonstop. Are you taking the UCLA job? You bringing Blutman with you?
Not that I know of. I already got Blutman with me, so how good does life get?
Yeah, exactly. What are your thoughts this week? And we're missing, we'll start, the G spot's a little different. We don't, Greg Olsen now, people are going to be like, oh, he's off the show. He's not coming. He was in Dublin announcing the game, flying. I told, people got all bent out of shape. We called him an umpire. They're like, oh, Greg Olsen's going to beat Dave up. He hates Dave. Listen, I bust balls with everybody. I that's how I talk. That's how we talk. I've known Greg forever. I actually thought we should have kept this under wraps and let him skip this week and let it build, but he's flying. He'll be back next week. Coach, what are you thinking about the NFL? Any thoughts? I know you're a little disgusted on everything that's going around the league right now.
I don't know what's coming out of the bag, Dave. As soon as I get excited about the Green Bay Packers defense, they give up 40 points without CeeDee Lamb. They look like every other defense. I get excited about Carolina. They win 30-0. They go on the road. They lose 42-6. It's just, I don't know who's going where, but obviously Baltimore is a shock to me. They're not playing well. They don't look like they have much confidence. Their defense is unrecognizable. I'm really excited with what the Detroit Lions are doing. It appears Pittsburgh's got some momentum. But I think what really jumped at me yesterday was there are some teams that are getting off the mat and showing some life, like the Patriots, like the Atlanta Falcons. I like what they did. The New York Giants, I mean, they just destroyed the Chargers. They beat the hell out of them. So there were some good signs of teams like the Houston Texans, teams that needed to light the fuse and get the season started.
Bears certainly joined
There's
that
another
group.
one.
Yeah. So I think I've asked you this before, and this is a philosophy I've had in the NFL. I'm curious as a coach. I've always said early season, I don't know, till week 8, 10, hungry dogs run faster. And what I mean by that, we see it year in, year out. And you mentioned a couple. Carolina plays great. Patriots lose a heartbreaker. They play total reverse. Patriots kill them. What is that happens to the Falcons being another example? They lose 30-0, shut out, come back, look great. Is it hard to motivate guys after a win? Why does that seem to always be the case, that the team that plays poorly comes out with the hair on fire, and it's just always a motivation almost thing? Is that you can't get them going during the week? They're feeling good about themselves?
I think young people today probably are a little bit more distracted than they were 10 years ago or 20 years ago. But I've never seen more injuries, Dave, in my life. We're 1 month into the season. Some of these teams are unrecognizable. I mean, the Washington Commanders, hell, they're missing every one of their good skill players on offense. I watched the 49ers yesterday. There's no Bosa. There's no George Kittle. I mean, you look for your key guys to make key plays in big moments, but I've never seen more injuries this early in the season. I think that has something to do with it. None of these guys practice anymore. Nobody plays in the preseason. I used to say this, it's not where you line up, it's where you wind up. And I think the first month of the season, you know this from being a Patriot fan, they almost used the first four regular season games like a preseason. I think now coaches have a good idea who they have, who they can count on. And I think now in the next month of the season, the cream will really start to rise.
Yeah, I've always used during my championship days with the Patriots, don't talk to me till it's the apples have fallen off the trees. That's basically what I say. I love having you on from the coach perspective, and you've had to do these interviews a million times. What did you think the Ben Johnson halftime interview that went viral? We'll play this. Let's show this. I'm curious your thoughts on this one. So he was not happy there. What is your thoughts when you get that? And whose side are you on in this particular interview?
I'm always on the coach's side. I've been the first to say I hate those sideline interviews. Now they're doing live interviews with coaches during the game. Can you imagine that? Hey, Coach Gruden, it's 3rd and 6. You've punted 3 straight series. How are you feeling? You know, for Ben Johnson not to take that microphone and slam it on the ground, it's a real credit to him. You know, some of these broadcast teams should think clearer. What do we want to ask the coach? And what do we really think the coach is going to say? You think we're going to go hey, we're going to run an onside kick to start the third quarter, and we're going to run flip right double X jet 36 counter naked waggle at 7 on the first play. You're never going to get a technical answer. So why do the interview? Sometimes more access is bad access. And what access you do get to people, I think you got to do a lot better job than that asking questions.
I'm on your side. That question, her smirk of like, are you going to change anything, seemed to be kind of like a provocative way to do it. I don't know that she meant it, but I didn't hate his reaction. Another question from the coaching side, and we've talked a little bit about this with wide receivers and divas. The Eagles, I'd say, undisputed best team in the league right now, right? 4-0, and you got A.J. Brown after the game basically putting out cryptic tweets, essentially saying, well, if they don't want me, I guess I'll just be going on my way. Like a backpack, one of those things, you got the bag on the stick. He's going to be walking down, thumbing down the street. He's not getting a lot of balls. The Eagles couldn't throw it. How do you handle that when your team is the class of the league, defending Super Bowl champs, and one of your best players is basically popping off about not getting the ball?
Well, first of all, we all have egos. And when you get in the NFL, these guys are all good players or they wouldn't be there. Now, A.J. Brown's a great player, so you have to assume he's not real happy when he's not getting the ball. And I'm sure Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, I'm sure they're aware of that. A lot of guys would rather catch 2 balls and lose than, 8 balls and win. A lot of guys have a different mentality. They'd rather, I should say, catch 8 balls and lose than 2 balls and win. But I think you just got to keep your poise. You got to take some bullets sometimes when you're the play caller, you're the head coach. You can't please everybody, Dave. So how about winning the game? Usually that's the remedy for a lot of these problems. But they got to get AJ the ball, and I think everybody knows that.
Coach, overtime, if we're going to give both teams the ball, is 10 minutes enough time?
What's the point in having overtime if we don't decide the outcome of the game? That's what I want to know. To play all that football and have all those things to talk about in a 40-40 tie, why can't we just go have a kickoff or a shoot-off like they do in soccer? But you can't walk out of a pro football game with a 40-40 tie. I think that's ridiculous.
Coach, what do you think about the clock management here at the end going for that final play?
Well, I was kind of shocked at the end of the game, at the end of the first half as well. I thought Green Bay was really aggressive, trying to get points at the end of the first half, and it resulted in a fumble and a touchdown for Dallas. But, right there, I'll be honest with you, I was half asleep. I don't even want to comment on that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are in the NFL. Do they have a neutral party running the clock? Because that seems like if you're in Dallas, you have to run that 1 second off the clock and at least make them put it on. And they're showing again. I got 2 more quick things for you, Coach. This is a college game. Great game. It was Florida State, Virginia. Absolutely spectacular ending. Virginia rushes the field. And it's an instant rush. They're on the field. Wide receivers swallowed in the end zone. A Virginia fan comes up, gives a double bird salute to Castellanos a minute after the game is over. I like rushing the field. I've said I think Castellanos, you should be able to beat that fan up. Imagine you coming off a loss, someone gives it right there, the double. This game isn't even over. What do you tell your players? Would you reprimand your player if he slugged that guy?
You know what, Dave, I've been through a lot of these things before. We had one of our offensive linemen get hit in the face with a snowball going back to the locker room. There's a lot of things that happen in this emotional time. I don't like what that fan did. Certainly, you can't punch the guy in the face for giving you the bird. You almost have to assume people are going to act like that when they get a win. I think you just got to bite your tongue and move on, and that's a classy move by Florida State right there, handling it the way they did.
The last one, I don't know if you noticed it, but the Gruden family went viral this weekend. Your son in this picture, if we can pull it up. Have you talked to him? We got to pull this up. It's quite the dynamic that we have in this photo. Let's get it up.
It's like twins.
Coach's son, who's a strength trainer. We have it ready, right?
Yeah, we got it. It's like Arnold and DeVito.
There it is.
Have you talked to him about this?
No, not really. That's Colton Miller and Deuce. That was a pregame thing. Deuce is obviously 5'5" or 5'4", and Colton's 6'7". So it's two of my favorite beasts right there. Deuce is the strongest guy pound for pound in the world, and Colton Miller is one of my favorite guys. I just hope Colton Miller's ankle's all right. He got hurt at the end of that game, and that was a tough day for the Raiders.
These blocked field goals, blocked kicks, it's unbelievable. Never seen anything like it. Coach, we're going to have you back later to shred some things up. Thank you as always.
All right, thanks for having me, Dave. See you.
See you.
Thank you, Coach Gruden.
Right,
man, I can't, yeah. Coming up next here on Wake Up Barstool,
You just have
guys.
a brain fart?
Well, no, to be
I
honest.
think they're talking to him.
No, time out. I was looking at the clock. I figured we were going to extend that series to 56 and then make it up in the back end. But now they want us to go to break. But then why would we go to break? I say we go to 56, right? Then we make up the break on the back end. All right, I want to talk about some college football there then. Brandon.
Yep.
What was your number one biggest takeaway from a just absolutely massive slate?
Well, I had two big ones, and they were both mental things. They're both these great programs like Georgia and Penn State. And Georgia has won 2 national titles over the last 5 years, but when they stand on the sideline and they look across, and even if it's not Nick Saban now, even if it's Kalen DeBoer, they can't handle it. They cannot handle Alabama on the other side. Georgia had every opportunity to win that game. They're dropping passes. They're diving on piles. They're making terrible decisions to not tie the game on 4th down. They're going to a third-string running back on 4th down. Like, they're doing the dumbest things you can imagine, and Alabama wins again. Alabama, now you got to put them right back in the mix as a contender in the SEC and for the national title.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You have to put them in the mix. Listen, the SEC this year
We'll get to the top 10,
is not as good as the Big Ten at the very, very, very top, but like in the middle of the SEC, Alabama is in the mix. Now, Penn State, boy, all the narratives look true. They can't win the big game. Drew Aller stinks. James Franklin stinks. And then they do the comeback. And then they have this huge, gigantic 17-3 comeback. And you see this championship heart and this medal, and you're like, oh, my goodness, they're made of something. They're changing the narrative right here, and they lose again. So I don't know where Penn State is right now mentally, because they got to be all up in a pretzel.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was almost like it would have been easier if they just would have been finished off and not even showed.
But that would have proven the narrative. Like, all the narratives were
way better. I agree with Walker, because Penn State in this new land of the playoff, I think they can take away. But hey, we can play with anybody. We got off to a slow start. They dominated the 4th quarter. If you just get blown out, you now are walking on thin ice for the playoff. This is not. I mean, even if you look at the rankings, which I have a problem with them, they didn't drop that far. They're like, what, 7 or something?
7.
So their season is still very much intact. Like, they can go avenge this. No one will care. You lose this like how they're losing it, that really gives you no margin for error. So they can sleep probably. They obviously lost the game, but they can still sleep at night knowing their season, everything's ahead of them.
That's interesting. I don't know if I entirely agree, and it's the perfect way to go in a break, because we will continue this conversation. We'll get to Brandon Walker's top 10. He's got your winners and losers from the college football weekend. It's all coming up here on Wake Up Barstool on FS1. Grab a coffee, stick around. We'll see you in a couple minutes. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool here on FS1. We're talking college football to end the hour, college football to start the hour here, as we have the number one personality in all of college football, Brandon Walker.
Yes.
Every single Monday, he brings you his top 10. Brandon, let's hear what you got.
So Dave Portnoy is going to hate my top 10, because
I already know
you're
going to have losers in there.
I truly believe you got to have a mix of the teams that you still believe in, even if they've lost, like a Georgia, versus the teams that are undefeated and might not really have done much yet. Like, to me, Oklahoma, they're in the AP top 5. They're number 5 in the country.
Yeah.
They were gifted a win against Auburn. They have a win over Michigan. I don't think they look that great in either one of them. I don't think they're a top 10 team. So I'm just not going to put them in my list. Here's my list right here. It is, of course, I got Ohio State number 1. Oregon jumps up to number 2 because of a road win at Penn State.
Yeah, got to.
It's very, very big. And it's just what they look like, man. Their defensive line looks like an NFL defensive line. They look so impressive at every position. The quarterback is also very, very good. Miami staying at 3. Alabama jumps up to 4. Texas stays at 5. A&M's at 6. Ole Miss is at 7. They're number 4 in the country in the AP. I think that's too high. They beat LSU, and that's great. That's a good win.
LSU might suck.
LSU might stink.
Yeah.
And then we got Georgia. We got Texas Tech at 9. Penn State at 10. It kind of hurt to leave off Indiana.
A&M at 6?
A&M at 6, yeah.
It's okay.
A&M at 6. I mean, the road win at Notre Dame. That road win at Notre Dame is going to age pretty well.
That's true. That's true. That's
I think that road win is going to age very well. So there it is. Dave, I know you hate it, but that's what I put together.
Well, I mean, if you're an Indiana fan, this is absolute garbage. You beat Illinois by 100.
Right.
Illinois comes back with a great win, at home against USC. They're undefeated. There's no way they shouldn't be in there. I think Iowa State people can have a gripe. If you have a loss, I put them ahead. I put undefeated teams with good quality wins. Indiana's outrageous not to be there. I mean, that's just flat out outrageous.
I'm not going to sit there and lie and say Indiana's a better team than Georgia because Georgia played Alabama already.
I think Texas
I'm
Tech,
not going to sit there. Yeah, it's fine. It came down to Indiana and Texas Tech.
3 weeks ago, you said Alabama football is dead as a program, and now they're the 4th best team in the country.
Yeah, they went on the road and won in Georgia.
I am so
That's
sick
worse
of
for
the Georgia. I am so sick of Georgia. Listen, nobody has been beating the Georgia is not Georgia of the national title era like me. The SEC, you said it earlier. The SEC, there's no super team in there.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee probably should have beaten Georgia. Alabama, who knows what they are? They got smushed by Florida State, who's not that very good. I don't think there's no national champion coming out of SEC. People still have SEC memories, but the SEC is just another conference right now.
That's not true. That part's not true. The SEC. The Big Ten is the best conference on top right now. I think there's three
the Big Ten is by far top to bottom the best conference.
Not top to bottom. The SEC is deeper. The SEC is deeper than the Big Ten.
No, that's not true at all, Brent. You're living in fantasy. And by the way, the top 2 teams, and I hate saying this because God knows I hate Ohio State. Ohio State and Oregon have separated themselves right now from the rest of the country. They are so far. Now, I don't know about Miami. Miami, I'm not sold on. I'll put a question mark next to Miami. But Oregon and Ohio State are so far above everybody else right now. There's no way. You can't just, the top. The top's way higher. Michigan would be the best team in the SEC.
Michigan went on the road and lost to Oklahoma, Dave.
Do you know how much we have improved from that game, Brandon?
Michigan couldn't beat Oklahoma.
We didn't even let the kid run. We didn't even let the kid run. We lost on the road. Trust me, this team's getting physical and mean. Trust me. So I don't want to hear about the SEC. The top 2 teams, and I'll also say
Michigan is a mid-tier team in the SEC.
Your best team in the SEC lost to FSU.
You shut up!
No, but I'm right.
All these mid teams right now, if you look at right now, if you want to put Michigan in the second tier, fine. You put Michigan, Iowa, Indiana, all these teams would have a legitimate chance to win the SEC.
That is the dumbest thing you have ever said in your entire life, and you said some dumb crap. That is ridiculous.
Who is so good in the SEC?
You think Michigan, who couldn't beat Oklahoma,
I just said Michigan, Indiana,
Iowa.
Who else did I say?
You said Iowa.
You said Iowa was win the SEC.
Iowa is a great. You got to be kidding me that you think Iowa can beat
Iowa just should have beaten Indiana at home. Who is so good in the SEC?
Georgia is good. Tennessee is very good.
Georgia should have 2 losses already.
What do you mean Georgia had 2 losses? Georgia went on the road and beat Tennessee. These games count.
Now, Heupel coached like his nuts were in a little sack with a tight string around
They are.
Yeah, they should have won that game. I'm just saying the SEC is not. The SEC has benefited in past years where their top was so strong. They had the Alabama, the LSUs, or Georgias, who everyone's like, they're clearly the best. Those 2 teams now reside in the Big Ten, and the rest is all one big mishmash of anybody can beat anybody on a given week. The best team in the SEC may be Vanderbilt.
This is why you suck.
About the SEC.
This is why you suck, because Vanderbilt has done nothing. This is why you suck, because I gave you Penn State and Ohio State and Oregon, probably the three better teams than anybody in the SEC. I give you that, and then you want to take Iowa and Michigan and throw them and say, well, they can win the SEC. No, they can't. Michigan goes to Oklahoma and looks incompetent. They were outclassed by Oklahoma.
They didn't throw the ball. They didn't let the kid play as a freshman. Michigan, I'm telling you, is going to be very good by the time this thing's over. There's nobody I'm scared of Michigan's playing in the SEC out there. I'm like, oh, no. Well, bully him. What happened the last 2 times?
You got bullied by Oklahoma.
A bad Michigan team went and smoked Alabama at the end. We weren't ready. It's the second game we had with the quarterback. Trust me. I know football. I've seen
You don't
national
know football.
champions.
You don't know
I'll
football.
give you a credit. I'm going to give you a compliment. Mississippi State is one of the better teams in the SEC, and that says everything you got to know about the SEC.
I don't know if
Agreed.
that's a compliment, though.
No, it wasn't. But I'm taking it as one.
He kind of shifted on you at the end. Liam,
There-
let's go to the ball knower.
That was like a middle school food fight where stuff was just being thrown around, and I don't know how to keep up with it. Like, Dave actually said a few correct things, and then the SEC thing was kind of bananas. Brand said some good things, and then he was tripping. We're not doing this Penn State thing. We're done with this.
Okay, you say your thing.
I am. That is my thing. We're not doing this Penn State team. The Penn State team is the team that played those first 3 quarters. That's Penn State.
Why do y'all get to
overtime.
say that? Why do y'all get to say they are the team from the first quarter
because
and they're not the team from the fourth quarter? Why do you get to say that?
Well, that's
3 quarters is more than
75% is more than 25% if you just want to be literal. That's fair. Is it
I'm
not?
just
And they
calling
played
my
nobody.
shot.
But the fourth quarter is the most important quarter, is it not?
Their offense didn't do anything the first 3 games, and that's how they came out and looked after 3, let's call it 4 straight buys. They prepared their entire offseason for the Oregon game. That was their true season opener, and that's what they came out with, and that's how they ended it. That's Penn State. That's James Franklin. He's won 15 against top 5 teams at Penn State. Go find a new coach. Go get Elia Drinkwitz. Penn State's done, cooked, dead in the water. Dave is correct. There are 2 teams that have separated themselves. I think there's one team that has truly separated themselves. I think Ohio State is by far the best team in the country. I just see them repeating, going back to back. I think their defense is too good. From everything I've heard about their defensive scheme with Matt Patricia is impossible for these college kids to figure out that defense.
Shut up with that, Meek. Give me a break.
It's
Listen,
true.
I like
He's
Matt
disguising
Patricia.
stuff pre-snap so
Well,
well.
give me a
Caleb
break.
Downs has
Like,
free
he's the
reign to do
first-
whatever he wants. They're
Matt
an elite defense.
Matt
A very
Patricia-
elite. It's better than last year.
Get him blood.
Matt Patricia apparently is the first NFL coach ever to coach in college football. And I like Matt Patricia. I'm friends with Matt Patricia. He probably won't admit it now. I like Matt Patricia, but they're talented. They're very good. And I said it. My biggest worry about Ohio State, if we're being honest, I think they're very good. I said this. I think the quarterback's outstanding.
Correct,
Like he is. And everyone's like, he's not throwing the ball downfield. He's not doing. Give me the guys who seem to understand the game, who know how to move in the pocket, who find the guys. This guy is dangerous and makes me very, very nervous. Julian's saying he looks like a little choir boy who should be surfing in LA, but this kid is dangerous and nails. So when you go back, he makes me nervous. Ohio State's very good. Oregon's very good. I'm going to say something else, and I'm saying things that you wouldn't expect Dave Portnoy to say. I think the 3rd best team in the country, as crazy as this may say, they've had bad luck. I think Notre Dame is very good.
Not that.
I think they're very
very
good.
good.
I don't know about. I love CJ Carr. CJ Carr is going to be.
And the
He's
running
already
back
good. He's going to be
love-
great. Yeah.
Now, they did play an Arkansas team who employed
the corpse.
the worst defense I have ever seen the other day. They were not coached to a level that should be acceptable in college football, and it wasn't because they fired Sam Pittman immediately after. But, like, Arkansas, something was just off with them as far as their
Yeah,
defensive
they were down in
staff.
the water. They knew that their head coach was done. They weren't playing for anything.
But look at where Notre Dame's 2 losses rank. What we think about those teams now.
Yeah, A&M's good.
And you look at Notre Dame's schedule, they're going to blow the
They're
doors
gonna go
off
10-2.
everybody. They're going to go 10-2. They'll make Notre Dame will have the chance to prove their mettle come playoff time.
Would it shock you if they made a deep run? It would not shock me.
No.
No, because
'cause
last year they
CJ
lost
Carr-
to Northern Illinois and made a deep run. So, yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all.
CJ Carr is going to get better and better and better as well. Like, that's the difference. Notre Dame hasn't had a quarterback like CJ Carr since what, Brady Quinn? Since your coworker?
But they don't have the defense they had last year either. So
That's fair.
They were going to be in some shootouts that they weren't in last
And
year.
they're not going to be able to score at will like they did against Arkansas. I can't get over the Patricia thing, Dave. It's not because he's an NFL mind. I don't care if he came in off the streets or if he came in after being a substitute teacher for 6 months. What he is doing pre-snap is impossible for these college kids to figure out.
That is saying an NFL coach.
But I don't care where. Like, forget he coached in the.
That is the dumbest narrative, Blunt. I mean, I like you, but I'm going to call it straight. You're making it seem like he's the first defensive coordinator from the NFL that's ever coached in college football. You think he's invented new schemes from his last 4 failed jobs?
I am saying it is very, very difficult for 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids to figure out his defense pre-snap. They are having a bunch of trouble with it. That is why I'm saying how they are using Caleb Downs. He has complete free reign to do what he wants, what his instincts tell him to do. And that's the
Jimmys and Joes, not the X's and O's.
So that's a Jimmy and a Joe, right? That's a top 2 player in the country. Arvell Reese is in the great,
it's not scheme. Give me the best players and I can scheme you up pretty good.
But
we're not going to see eye to eye here, but we see eye to eye on the offense. I think that once they take the training wheels off, once Ryan Day is deciding to actually unleash them, and they have Jeremiah Smith, man. Anytime they want to get him downfield, they could have him. Ryan Day's opting into slowing games down and bleeding the clock because the new clock rules are absolutely abhorrent, and we're just letting them take away football from us. I don't want to get into that, but we see eye to eye on the offense. I think Saban's the best quarterback in the country. If he had free reign, he'd absolutely spin it all over the yard.
Oh, wow. You think he's actually the best QB in the country?
Well, who do you think is the best quarterback?
Dante Moore's got to be.
Dante Moore is really good, but when you look at across the board in the country of college football quarterbacks, that landscape, there's so much incompetence and there's so much that it just lacks desire, right? Like, it's not a good scene at all. So I don't think it's bad to say that the Ohio State quarterback who has shown promise, who has done it in a limited way, like if he's fully unleashed, that's the best quarterback in the country.
Dave, you thought Buckeye Brandon was an opponent. I was nothing. This guy said the other night that Ohio State, with the best quarterback in the country, they are an unbeatable football team.
Unbeatable is probably
unbeatable is what you said.
That was an unfair word to use because I do know Michigan could just straight beat them.
It was like
now you know.
I
mean, that's the truth.
That is some sycophantic backpedaling right there, Blood. You're just
I said on Saturday night, I told Casey I was just idiotic and wrong, but I'll stand on my word. I said they're unbeatable. I'll live with it, whether good or bad. I have to deal with the consequences. I say things, it comes out of my mouth. I live with the consequence. I don't cower down like 99%.
But it is how crazy college football can change on a dime, because we're talking about Oregon has separated themselves, right? And we're talking about Penn State's never going to do anything.
They're not.
Oregon won in double overtime against Penn State. It was the margin was that thin the other night. Penn State's not dead, and Oregon's not in the NFL.
No, I agree with that. Do we have the clip, by the way? We got to show. I thought this is the best tweet of the whole weekend from college football. The Dan Lanning interview after they won.
Oh, he was so fired up.
They said if college football was cocaine, this would be it. It literally, that was the perfect way to encapsulate Dan Lanning. By the way, Dan Lanning, he choked him out when it was 14-0.
Yeah.
It's over, and it was not over. And then he talked about jugular. Hilarious clip, but he's fired up. That's what makes college football so great. Is the emotion and the thing. But I agree with you, Brandon. I'm not bearing Penn State, but to win on the road at night, that you're not supposed to do that. So it's not like you can say they're hand in hand, even teams, but you get a lot of credit for going into the Lions' den and winning.
That's why I put them at number 2. I just don't know if there's been this separation that we like to put in there narrative-wise. That separation isn't. If they play again tomorrow, that's going to be a pick 'em.
So if I wanted to advocate for my opinion that Penn State is more the team we saw in the first 3 quarters. When you look at the first 3 weeks against subpar competition, how stilting and awkward the offense was, how awkward the offense was for 3 nights, and then look at the fact we were told this Penn State team was going to be better because of that receiver room. Where are they? And so, and now you look what Abdul Carter's doing on Sundays. You look what Tyler Warren's doing on Sundays. I just can't sit here and think that Penn State's a better team this season when they lose those 2 players and the receivers that were supposed to be the difference haven't been a difference at all yet.
And also, we're crowning Ohio State, who look great, but we still don't know Washington. I mean, they haven't beaten. They haven't done anything. They're not a ranked team, so maybe that win doesn't look as good. I think a lot of people are saying going to Washington is such a tough place to play, including me. But they haven't done anything. In Texas, kind of stinks so far. So maybe we're overrating Ohio State. The reason I'm giving Ohio State the credits, the quarterback to me, and I feel like I'm a quarterback whisperer. Nobody's watched better quarterback play than me over the years with J.J. McCarthy, Tom Brady, Underwood. He makes me nervous. Julian Sayin makes me nervous.
I agree, Dave, and nobody's seen better quarterback play in the Pac-12 era than me. Josh Rosen, Wilton Speight, Brett Hundley, and I had Dante Moore for a little bit, so I'm also very cognizant of what he's got in his bag. Like, Oregon does have the second best quarterback.
We all have TVs, right?
Look, nobody's seen better quarterback play than me. I have
Brandon
Jaden
Walker,
Daniels
you have
and Joe
one
Burrow.
TV. Yeah. You are a one TV guy.
I'm not a one TV guy.
Yes, you are.
You're lying.
You have all those TVs, and you don't have Indiana in your top 10. I think we're still glossing over that. A playoff team last year's 5-0. You still have in your top 10.
About who has watched better QB play from the guy who graduated the University of Michigan?
Oh, my God.
With Tom Brady the same year, watched him the whole year, and then watched his entire career. Brady moved to my hometown when he came to the Patriots, Swampscott, Mass, lived there when no one knew who he was, and I watched 20 years of dominance, and we're talking about who has watched the most great QB play in their life. I've seen every snap of this guy's career. Let's just table that topic from now, and that, unfortunately, is a compliment to Julian Sayin.
That unfortunately is a compliment to Julian Sayin. Perfect way to end the segment. All right, coming up next, it's the Shred Line with Coach Jon Gruden. What got Coach fired up this week, and what does he want to shred? Find out next here on FS1. Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. A lot of spirited debate going on today. And, speaking of spirited, there's one man that pretty much for my entire life has been getting me fired up about the NFL, and that is our guy, Coach Jon Gruden. And once again, every Monday we do it. It is time for Coach Gruden's Shred Line.
I love the Shred Line.
Cut you like a surgeon. Bleed on streets burning, burning, burning. Shred, shred. Shred, 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 shred.
Good morning, everybody. I love that song. I want to start by shredding all the critics, all the negativity, all these negative podcasts, negative reporters, all these negative bloggers. Let's start with shredding all the negative people that are fans of the New York Giants. Let's take a look at what happened yesterday, all you negative New York Giant fans. Here's Jackson Dart for you on a quarterback draw, sticking it to the undefeated Chargers. Then a shovel pass, 36 minutes of possession. The Giants beat the Chargers' brains in. What a win. And then you look at the Chicago Bears. I mean, I go up to Chicago to Barstool, and I hear Eddie and all these negative Bear fans. How about Caleb Williams taking it right down the field at crunch time? All you bloggers, all you negative Chicago people, Bears win. Bears look great. And how about all the people in Atlanta driving around calling in sports radio shows wanting to fire everybody? How about Mike Penix sticking it to you guys with 2 touchdown passes, pummeling the Washington Commanders? How about the Falcons? And then you got the New England Patriots. They lose on opening day to the Raiders. They fumble 14 times last week to the Steelers. But Josh McDaniels and Drake May, they look like the vintage Patriots. 42 unanswered points. What a butt kicking. And finally, C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans, 0-3. Everybody's booing and whining and complaining. How about 26-0? How about the butt kicking that the freaking Houston Texans put on the Titans? That's some good shred, all you negative people.
Hell yeah.
The only problem with that shred is you may have just shredded our entire livelihoods.
Entire company.
That is how we are here. We are definitely lumped into the complaining, blogger, overreacting crew. No, we deserve to be shredded for it. Most of those wins. The only win to me that was really impressive in that was the Giants, I guess, beating the Chargers. The other teams, Redskins, Washington Commanders, they have nobody. Carolina stinks. So, I don't know how impressive some of those were.
You see, even the shred line can't affect you, Dave.
I'm just saying. I think the Patriots are pretty good. Like, I have the Patriots right in the second class of the AFC, so I'm excited about them. I think the future is super bright. I think that we could be a playoff team. I said last week, I hope that loss that we should have beat Pittsburgh doesn't come back to bite us, but this is a team that you can be very excited about as a Patriot fan.
Amen. Good to see you guys. Thank
Coach,
you.
wait, Coach, I got a question before you go. I got a question. Coach Olivia, you still there?
Yeah.
All right. Jackson Dart. Okay, Meek's a Giants fan here. Jackson Dart. Love the balls, love the gumption, the moxie, kind of finding ways, like you said, to extend drives, hold on to the ball. You lose Malik Neighbors. How do you feel about him going forward? It's not the most statistically impressive performance, but it was a winning performance. Where are you at if you're a Giants fan going forward with Dart right now?
Well, that's a big blow. I mean, I watched the Dallas Cowboys last night, and they didn't have CeeDee Lamb. I thought the Cowboys would really struggle. This is an opportunity for some other guys to step up, but it is a big loss. Don't get me wrong. Neighbors is a heck of a player, but Jackson Dart brings a whole new level of offense to the Giants. His mobility, I think his shotgun offense, the fact that he can keep it and create, is going to make him a little bit harder to defend. But clearly, Robinson, somebody's got to step up and be a force for them at the wide receiver position. Maybe they make a trade. Who knows?
Last one for it, Coach, the Colts game, the wide receiver who drops the ball, which we see at the goal line, feel like once a year. Do you even say anything to him when he comes off, or does he know, like, what are you doing? How do these guys keep doing it? The Colts also had 10 guys, I think, on the field on a winning play. What do you do here? Like, well, I mean, what do you even say to a guy like this?
That's a long flight home to Indiana from L.A. last night, losing a game like this. There's not much you can say. The kid obviously felt horrible. I could tell by his reactions on the sideline. You just got to console him, really. The guy made a great play. He's going to be a big part of our season. Pierce was out. The kid made a huge play. It's a horrible way to lose a game. But having 10 guys on the field, that would really tick me off even more. But that was carelessness by the Colts. They could clearly be 4-0. And let's see how they respond to adversity for the first time.
All right, Coach Gruden, thank you so much, man. Again, like I said, always the best getting to chop up the NFL with you. Coming up next year on Wake Up Barstool, we will stay in the NFL as we have a full slate to react to. Still haven't touched much on last night's Sunday night game either. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. FS1, and we'll be back with more WUB right after the break. Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. T-Bob Hebert, Brandon Walker, Dave Portnoy, Meek Phil, and Liam Blutman here in studio, breaking down the NFL Sunday. And one game that we have not touched on yet that has major ramifications, the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead taking care of the Ravens 37-20. Xavier Worthy returns. You immediately see the value of having a weapon in that offense. But maybe the bigger story is the Ravens here. Lamar leaving the game with a hamstring injury. They're now falling to 1-3. The defense looks completely hapless. Dave, are you willing to declare the Ravens done?
No, absolutely not. I think there's way too much history with the Ravens to say they're done. When you have the continuity between the coach and the quarterback, and I know he dinged his hamstring or whatever, they'll make a run. You always make these rash reactions too early in the season. Now, I'm not a Lamar postseason guy, but they will right the ship. This was a bad loss for them, and they've had a relatively difficult schedule in the beginning, but the Ravens will be there somehow in the playoffs. I actually think the Chiefs are the team that, once again, I have a list here of 4 teams that can win the Super Bowl. Eagles, Lions, Bills, Chiefs. That's it. I don't have the Ravens on there. I think the Ravens will be in the playoffs, but I think the Chiefs are going to be right back where they always are as a team that's very dangerous, Super Bowl contender favorite. But no, if you're writing off the Ravens, that's just you're disregarding the last 10 to 15 years of the Harbaugh-Lamar era, which is stupid. It's just, and people do it all the time. I'm sure there's people writing them off and they're going crazy, but they'll be there.
I completely agree about the Ravens. They also play in a division where
as long as Lamar's healthy,
as long as Lamar's healthy,
like that is the caveat to all of
I think
this.
they were saying last night if that game had been closer, he probably could have played.
Okay.
I think I'm not worried about the Ravens. I think they play in a division where they can make it up. They've already played Cleveland once, but they're going to play the Steelers twice. They're going to play the Bengals twice without Joe Burrow. Like, I think they can make it up. I was more impressed with the Chiefs. I think finally we could see the Chiefs look like the Chiefs of old, where they got Patrick Mahomes throwing 4 touchdowns, and they're not just winning these games like 19-17 because an official gave them a good call or because Mahomes bailed them out again. This time they actually look like the actual Kansas City Chiefs that has defined this run over the last few years. That was the bigger story to me.
So last night, Sunday Night Football, the return of Micah Parsons, and honestly, Jerry kind of winning the night for the majority of the night. Now, Parsons comes up with the only sack of the game at the very end to save what could have and probably would have been a Dak Prescott touchdown. But in a tie game, 40-40, is there actually a team that won or lost last night? Like, is this better for the Cowboys that they did what they did after that trade and after how much crap Jerry Jones got for letting Parsons go than it is for the Packers?
I don't think the Cowboys won last night. I do think the Packers lost a little bit. This was supposed to be, we crowned them way too early. They started off 2-0. We're saying Super Bowl contender and everything. They go into Dallas. They got Micah Parsons. Dallas has some injuries on the offensive line. CeeDee Lamb's out, and they can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
And can I say one thing? Dak Prescott is good. Dak Prescott is a good NFL quarterback. The only time he hasn't been good lately is when he got hurt. He is good, and I think it was a loss for the Packers. Not necessarily a win for the Cowboys, although, it was good for the Cowboys.
It was 100% a win for the Cowboys. Cowboys winning this game. A lot of people saying they're the worst team in the league. Can't stop anybody. You're playing the Packers, who have your best defensive players, been the number one really story in the offseason with Micah Parsons. A tie, what, kissing your sister? No, a tie is a win here for the Cowboys. The Packers, and this is the league, and again, we say it over and over, it's early. The Packers were one of the Super Bowl favorites as of 2 weeks ago. They blow a big lead to the Browns, who are awful, and then they're up 13-0. 13-0 becomes 13-2, but they look like they're in complete control. They blow this game. This was a loss for the Packers, a win for the Cowboys. You want to talk? I always look, all right, where are the Super Bowl odds? Go on DraftKings, look. You tell me, how are the Packers a bigger favorite slight to win the Super Bowl than the Detroit Lions? That is insanity. The Packers look lost right now to me. Early season, but this is the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a joke. They're not going to do anything. This was a win for them, especially with Micah Parsons coming back in the building.
You know what made this tie sadder? And I'm sure this happened. I'm just not remembering, but the walk-off field goal tie.
Yeah.
It had none of the excitement.
That makes you make a choice.
Yeah,
you have to choose, do I want to put this tie on or do I want to roll the dice here and go for the win and look like a hero or look like an idiot? So they made the choice to go ahead and do the walk-off field goal tie, but it is a depressing way to tie.
And it screws up your just brain for the rest of the season when you throw a tie on there and you're trying to look at playoff scenarios and everything. It just makes math that much harder for the rest of the season. Really, the NFL, I would have no problem. Keep the sudden death rules for regular season overtime and just go with this back and forth for postseason. It started with that Bills-Ravens game where you want to let people touch the ball. I believe that was the game they changed the rule. Keep it for the postseason. NHL does that, but if you're going to allow the game to end in a tie, then you lose the coin flip, tough luck. Just have it be that way. You had a chance to win it. They should change that rule because ties are dumb.
Or have overtime longer than 10 minutes.
What? 10 minutes is crazy.
That's a possession for each team. Like, that's just begging to end in a tie.
Every quarter's 15 minutes and overtime's 10 minutes. It's crazy. Just make it 15 minutes.
Can I do is just totally side note? I see the Arizona State helmet. We should have Kenny Dillingham in here again and draw up some red zone plays for them. Arizona State has the worst red zone offense I've ever seen in the history of my life. Nobody misses anybody more than they miss Can Scattaboo because they used to just give him the ball. He'd bowling ball his way in. This I have never seen. This was a great game. Absolutely great game. I watched the whole thing. But this team cannot score touchdowns from inside the 5. They had 3,000 plays. They were getting penalties. They probably should have lost. But let's get Kenny. He's a fan of the program. Let's get a chalkboard out. Maybe we have Gruden in here. This guy cannot score. They don't know how to get the ball in the end zone. They throw these passes behind the line of scrimmage. It's disgusting. So that's just a note. Kenny Dillingham, let's get him on the program. Let's chalkboard him up, X's and O's. If they can get the ball in the red zone, they did it against you too, Walker.
That's how they lost to us, yeah. That's how they lost to us.
Yeah, they can't score inside the 5. They have the worst stats in college football. They can't do it. So let's start helping our friends the program and let's draw up some red zone plays for this guy.
And we're not getting Gruden to do it. You said you're the best offensive coordinator, offensive play caller in the world. You do it.
Fine, I will do it. Let's have him agree to come on the show and because he has to know he's a very self-aware guy, and his red zone offense stinks.
Can we each draw a play up for him?
Jerry's been drawing plays every week.
We should
Jerry
all
here.
present.
Flutman, you want to play?
Yeah, very badly. Yeah, I got something cooking up.
I don't know if I could fathom a bigger waste
Mine
of Kenny
involves
Gillingham's time if he were to come on here and be subjective to our red zone
T-Bob,
whiteboard.
then you haven't watched this red zone offense. It's disgusting.
All right, coming up next here, Wake Up Barstool, back to college football as we talk to one of the heroes of the weekend, Zephian Wade, the Louisville ball boy that battled not one, but two Pitt players to get that ball back for his team. More Wake Up coming up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. One of the highlights of the college football weekend was our guy, Zephian Wade, Louisville ball boy, who, look, Louisville's playing at Pitt. It's a big game. Pitt's a live dog. They get a pick six to go up 17-0. And then, look, that's Louisville's ball. Our guy, Zeph, he has to get that ball back. He goes to fight with not one, but two Pitt players to retain the ball. Zeph, what's up, brother? How we doing today? Thank you for joining us.
Fantastic. How are you all doing?
We gonna show this highlight or what?
Yeah, guys.
See what it is.
Oh yeah, let's look at the tape. Let's look at the tape. Oh man.
So you had the ball back and they came and punched it out of your hands?
Yes. So it was. I mean, going into the week, my boss or the last time. So the last time Louisville went to Pittsburgh, we went 2 years ago in 2023, and we had lost a bunch of footballs. We lost about 3 or 4 footballs to them throwing it into the stands, and so our boss. Ed Connell, he had made a big emphasis on making sure that we get those footballs back. And I wasn't really trying to, like I said, I wasn't trying to start a commotion or anything. I was just trying to do my job. And so after, number 3, he had made a great play. I mean, he had made a great play. I'm running down the sideline and I'm just waiting for him to get to the sideline. He walks right past me. I knock the ball out for a quick second and I have it in my hand. And the next thing you know, I just feel arms and hands and everything just on me, grabbing me. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm trying to move around. I'm trying to get out of there. And then they're grabbing me. And then you see number 2 here, he just throws it behind. And at that point, it was kind of out of my hands. And he throws it into the stands. And at that point, I was just like, okay, it is what it is. But in my mind, I was thinking if we win this game, this will be fantastic. We got to win this game. It'll be great if we win this game. And I went to talk to the Pitt people, the Pitt security and the Pitt equipment managers. They were real helpful. That's the thing. I don't want people to think I'm trying to take credit or I'm the only one that went in there and got that football. I wasn't able to do that. I couldn't go into the stands and get that. It was a collective effort to get that football. My bosses helped me.
Oh, you got the ball back. You ended up getting the ball back.
We did get the ball
Zeph,
back.
let's go, dude.
We did get the ball back. They gave it to me around, I think, the 3rd or 4th quarter. And then right after that, it was kind of weird because as soon as they gave me the ball back, we scored to tie it, and then the next possession we got the interception, and then we scored again. And I was trying to stay composed over there, but it was really hard, given the circumstances.
That's some ball boy speak too. That was coaches speak. We have ball boy speak. I can't take total credit. It was a group effort. The Pitt ball boys, the Pitt equipment people, everyone had to put a hand and get me that football back. It's not about me. It's about the team effort.
Well, it is. I mean, that's the thing about being an equipment manager. It's a team thing. We do a lot of work, and that's one thing I want to make sure I really put out here is that the people behind the scenes of sports do a lot. And I know everybody sees the people on the field and the coaches and the people in the boxes calling the plays, but the people that are getting there early in the morning and they're staying there late at night, they do a lot of work to get everything prepared and ready to go.
Did you know how quickly when this incident ended, were you like, I'm going viral? Did you have any idea?
Honestly, I can tell you this. I did not think this was going to go viral. I was just simply trying to do my job. I did after it happened, I just was thinking to myself, okay, what's going to happen next? Let's just get to the game. And then I went to the sideline. I went back to our sideline at the end of the first quarter, and my boss, he was livid. He was just like, dude, I just saw the video. He's like, are you all right? They just assaulted you over there. I'm like, assault? I didn't want to say too much. Cause one thing about me is a lot of people are asking how did I stay composed? How did I, just keep everything calm? I'm not going to lash out at anybody. Like I said, I was just trying to do my job. I have no beef or any issue with those Pitt players. They're both great players. They both had a great game. So I don't have any beef with them, but I really didn't think it was going to start going viral. At halftime, one of my coworkers, my friend Michael Cowan, he had pulled out his phone and he showed me that Barstool had said something about it. And he was like, dude, you're going viral right now. I said, I am. He's like, yes, bro, you're going viral. And I'm like, and then we won. And then once I got the ball back, honestly, like I really was like just going to leave it alone. But then all of my friends, they were like, you got to take a picture with that ball. So I immediately went back out there. I took a picture with the football, and then I just posted the stuff as a joke. And I'm like, okay, like, and then next thing you know, it went viral. And so I'm enjoying it. I've been enjoying the support. The Louisville fans have been supporting me. I knew that was going to happen. The Louisville fans are great. They're fantastic. They're amazing.
Did they give you the ball? That seems like a trophy case ball for you. Yeah. They didn't give you. They gave you the ball.
I don't have the ball, but we could definitely make that happen to where I can't get the ball. Like it's there. I can get it back. I had, like I said, I had to give it back to we needed it back as equipment managers because that ball is going to be used next week and Miller's going to throw a couple touchdowns with it. So
hell yeah, dude.
We got to use it for next week. Get it prepared.
Hey, Zeph, massive congrats on the dub. Congrats on getting the ball back. Somebody give this man an NIL deal, okay?
Please.
If you need somebody who's going to fight for you, if you need somebody who's going to fight for you and get you and your customers what they need, that's our guy Zeph, okay? Pay this man.
I will.
Hell yeah.
Will. And remember, listen. That's our ball, baby. That's our ball. L's are always up. The cards are all, like I said, I'm just happy to be here. I really appreciate you all for giving me the opportunity and giving me the platform to be on here. This is
what makes
so
college
surreal.
Football great. It really is. It's like student ball boy. Even that you gotta the whole interaction with them with the alley-oop makes it great. Probably the most famous ball boy we've had since Frankie, right? The Lightning guy from Florida State.
Red Lightning. It's Red Lightning's been. I've heard the comparisons. I don't want to. Like I said, one thing I'm trying to do is stay calm. Like my phone has been blowing up, and it's been great, obviously, because I want to work in media. I want to build my platform, and so and I had a question for you all. Like, what is something I can do to continue to build my platform and learn from this and grow from this? Because I'm very passionate about sports media, and I want to work in that field. What can I do to make sure I can at least get my foot in the door?
That's for Dave.
Dave.
Well, keep creating these videos like this. You just create more content than 75% of my staff has done in the 10 years of being here. So you keep being in the headlines. This is a great first step. We found guys a lot stranger than this. You make a moment and then we start following you and you never know. Life is crazy like that. We have so many guys we didn't know they existed 5 seconds before, and then you take advantage. You come on here, you're funny, well-spoken. So just keep taking advantage of the opportunity. Keep fighting for those balls.
I will. I'll make sure. Like I said, that's our ball, baby. That's our ball. That's ours.
Hell yes, Zeph. Thank you so much, man. Best of luck with the season going forward. Absolutely. Again, NIL deal, guys. Now, coming up next here on Wake Up Barstool, WNBA Finals are right around the corner, and there is a lot of drama to break down, and we'll get to it here on FS1. Welcome back to Wake Up. So the WNBA Finals are right around the corner. The Mercury are in. Tomorrow night, the Aces and the Fever will play a all-deciding Game 5. But the Minnesota Lynx are in the headlines as over the weekend, head coach Cheryl Reeve has one of the all-time wildest crash outs, justified or not if you want to call it that, as she is thrown out of Game 3. At the end of the game in the fourth quarter, she's kind of takes her time leaving. The fans are yelling at her. She's yelling F you at the fans on the way out. And then she put on an all-time performance in her post-game press conference. So that was just one of many comments, Dave. She called for leadership changes at the very top.
Yeah.
Dave, you're kind of our WNBA in-house expert here. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Well, the WNBA, I've said this, one of the most entertaining leagues you'll ever watch. Now, this is something, I'm an Indiana fan, I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. This is something that Fever fans have been saying forever. The game is so physical, so violent, it honestly makes the NBA look like tiddlywinks, and they don't referee. The referees are awful, and what you see is the best players in the league are all hurt. Caitlin's out for the season. Now, They lost. The Lynx lost their best player with a knee injury. They get eliminated. So it's 100% true. The leadership of the WNBA is the gang that can't shoot straight. Everything from marketing to officials, and they just let it go. It's the roughest game I've ever seen. Now, it makes for animosity, fights, the intensity ratchets it up, but all these players are getting hurt. So she's 100% right. Now, Fever fans have been screaming that from the top of their lungs forever because you see Caitlin go out and get basically assaulted, and then you lose the star player for the league. Whole different story, by the way, guys. Nobody loves Caitlin more than I. The Fever play tonight. If they win, they go to the finals. That's going to create a narrative that I don't know that I can control. With
the
Caitlin
better without Caitlin narrative, is that what you're
that they've made it to the finals. They hadn't won a playoff game, so that's I don't even know what's going on with that. And then it sets up a potential Indiana Fever Mercury finals. DeWanna Bonner started the season with the Fever. They hate her guts. She quit on the team. Sophie Cunningham's been taking shots at her on her podcast. They almost fought last time they played. If they ever played in the finals, that is ding, 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 WWF, WWE. It will be one of the most intense, hated, right? This is like Pistons Celtics. So there is a lot going on in the WNBA, but Cheryl Reeve is right. You have to get some degree of control of the game and let your star players show their skill. It's wrestling out there. These women abuse each other. Makes it entertaining, but do you want your stars all in the sidelines for the biggest games? Probably not.
She's right. The officiating is terrible, but man, I don't care what league it is. Watching a coach get let off like that and screaming F you to the fans,
awesome.
It fires me up,
It's awesome.
man. And then security right behind her turns to the fans like, you're out of here. I just love everything about that clip.
It's a soap opera. This league is a soap opera. Like, I want to say that's wildly unusual, but it's always something in the WNBA, and the women are dating each other. They hate each other. They assault each other. They trash each other. There's racial undertones. It is a league it's why I fell in love with it. It is an absolutely spectacular league. Now, I have so many futures on the Indiana Fever that I don't know that they can beat the Aces in this elimination game. They're 8.5-point underdogs. Obviously, Asia Wilson is one of the best players in the world. But my God, if they pull this off, I haven't thought the Fever would get this far, but they continue to beat the odds. Kelsey Mitchell's an absolute superstar. They got Aaliyah Boston, who's a great player. If they pull this, I'm telling you, if they pull this upset, it would be a major upset if they win this game on the road. This will set up for one of the most hated animosity rivalries in WNBA finals we've ever seen. There is true hatred. I feel like professional sports, the men, they don't hate like these women do. They hate each other.
Asia was just giving hate to Aaliyah Boston in the postgame after yesterday, saying
they
that
hate each other.
Aaliyah says Asia gets a special whistle, and Asia's like, she shot 13 free throws tonight. She's stripping.
Hey, look,
gotta finish
guys, there's not a better
talk.
WNBA breakdown on all of national television this morning. Dave, Brandon, Blood,
Go Fever.
Meek, all the production crew. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to the audience. We love you. We'll be back tomorrow for more Wake Up.